people saying,
You're listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Welcome to Corner of the Galaxy, the show that talks 100% LA Galaxy soccer. We're glad you could join us. Now it's time to sit back and relax as your hosts navigate through the twisting, turning, but never boring world of the five-time MLS Cup champion, LA Galaxy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Coming to you on a Thursday, June 24th. LA Galaxy coming off a miraculous win over the Vancouver Whitecaps. We're going to talk all about that game. There's lots of little things to sort of dissect and break down in that game, so we want to focus on that, get you ready for it, make sure you're happy and healthy with that game as we get you ready for the game against San Jose as well. There's some LA Galaxy news we're going to sprinkle in there, update on Ravel Assam, when he'll be arriving, so we're going to get you that. A new debut training top that we'll talk about because yikes. I think that's it. I think that's all we need right now. All right, to help me do all that, she's back. We're glad to have her back, too. It's Sophie, the Canon Nicolaou. Sophie, how's it going?
Mr. Guesman, I am epic. How about your fine self this wonderful Thursday, Southern California evening?
Yeah, it is. It is nice. It is cool. If you're by the beach, I guess if you're inland, it's probably hot. I don't know. I keep hearing that everybody's in this giant heat wave, and you know, one of the benefits of living closer to the beach is that sometimes you don't feel that as much. But even at my work today, I think it was, where it can get over 100 degrees. It was only like 74 today. So I think it was a nice day in Southern California. I'll take it.
I'm glad I don't live in the valley anymore. Those were brutal days living in Sherman Oaks. Lovely place to live, but my goodness, if you didn't have air conditioning, you were, unlucky.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I just stopped myself from saying the S word, and I'm very proud.
We're only 2 minutes and 54 seconds into the show. You're already like, you know what? Save that one already. So, no, that's good. I mean, we haven't talked to you in a little while. I was looking back, and I feel like it's been more than a little while, actually, whenever you look at the last time you were on. I feel like it's probably been a month because there was time off in between. There was things. I went on vacation, came back. So, overall status of the LA Galaxy in your mind, without getting into any details that spoil our Vancouver recap.
Yes. Well, firstly, how was your vacay? Did you have a good time?
I enjoyed it. It was nice. It was fun to get away. Vacationing with kids, not relaxing, but that's okay. It's okay. They had fun. Everybody had fun. We all enjoyed it. So thank you.
Yeah. Look, I think it's exciting times. Being back at the stadium with the fans has been amazing. Mm-hmm. I mean, that whole experience in itself, it just reminds you what you miss so much about football, because I think we've all shot so many of those eerie videos, during games when there's literally, Josh, nobody there, and you're walking and you feel like you're in an episode of The Walking Dead, and It was just so eerie. So to have all of those fans back and singing and chanting, and the players are feeding off it. And, the Greg Vanney chapter is in full swing. There's a couple of things sometimes where he concerns me a little bit. We'll talk about that. But in general, can't complain with the position in the league and the start to the season. And compared to the last, 2 years?
Right.
It's kind of banging.
Yeah, it's not too bad at all. Crazy game. I mean, I don't know how else to sort of. It was a very boring game. The first 40. If you slept through the first 45 minutes of the game, you didn't miss anything. And if you slept through the last, 5 minutes of the game, you missed everything. So, I mean,
good way of putting it.
It was a strange game for me, Sophie. And I guess I shouldn't expect anything. Let's preface it even by this: anytime the Galaxy go to play Real Salt Lake at altitude, at Rio Tinto in Sandy, Utah, it's not a pretty or clean game, and it never has been. The altitude messes with that. The field itself is hard, and we've seen that. Mm-hmm. Basically, the only difference between Portland, who plays on turf, and Real Salt Lake, who plays on grass, the only difference between those two is that one of them is grass and one of them is turf. They bounce a lot in similar
Yeah.
ways. It's a bouncy ball. It's a hard, fast surface. And I think if you're Vancouver, and Vancouver's getting just screwed this year, right? Because they're away from home and
It's terrible.
I don't even know how many people were in the stadium. I was told it was the vast majority of the people who were there, and maybe there was only like 500 or 600 people there, were LA Galaxy fans. It wasn't even close,
100%.
right? And so you got that. They had to deal with that. But I feel like out of all of them, Vancouver did get the advantage of playing at altitude and playing on a difficult pitch, right? And if you're used to both of those things, there is an advantage to be gained there. So I wouldn't be surprised if Vancouver later on, Sophie, unless they get to go back to Vancouver, which hopefully I think Kevin said after like July 21st or something like that, there's a possibility that the Canadian teams could go back to Canada and actually start playing games there, and maybe there's some cross-border travel. That's the earliest it would happen. But if they stay there, I have a feeling they're going to start finding some success away from home and on that field because the altitude and because the field are an advantage for them.
It's so tricky, isn't it, when you're not playing at home? It makes a massive difference. We see it all the time with expansion teams. I think it was I can't remember which team it was, but they were like on the road for 9 weeks before they even got to play a home game. Austin this season, of course. Right. They're now into their new stadium and stuff, but also it's not fun, like you said, to go to Real Salt Lake at the best of times. And the fact that LA Galaxy are they going to have to do it? Obviously, Vancouver is still going to be there come July.
Yeah,
they're going to have to play Salt Lake anyway.
Yes,
so they actually have to go back there.
They have back-to-back games, and I believe it's against RSL and Vancouver on the road, and those currently are in the same stadium, and so you would expect that perhaps they don't go. I think that's correct. I'll have to look up the schedule while we talk, but yeah.
So in my opinion, that's kind of not fair on the other teams too, but everyone has to adapt. Everyone's had to make sacrifices. It is what it is. Unfortunately, there's nothing one can do about it, but yeah, a weird, tough game. One of those that you just wanted to walk away with the win, Josh. But my goodness, did they make the Lag Nation suffer?
Yes.
To the very, very end. It wasn't a great game, was it? Really?
I mean, it was exciting for the last 15 minutes of the game because there was a lot of pressure from Vancouver. The Galaxy were trying to hold on a whole bunch of stuff, so there was exciting from that. If you were a neutral fan, it might be fun to watch that have happen. I think if you're an LA Galaxy fan, you're going to need the portable defibrillator to like be on the wall in your living room if you're watching that whole deal. And by the way, July 17th, the LA Galaxy play Vancouver at Rio Tinto, and July 21st, 4 days later, they play Salt Lake at Rio Tinto. And
it's going to be a lot hotter in July than it is now.
And the guys were even complaining about the heat, that it was hot there even whenever they went. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff here. Let's start with some basics here. Let's start with a little bit of lineup for the LA Galaxy. Vanny goes back. Now we against Seattle, we saw him set up in a 4-2-2-2. As he told us specifically. And sometimes I don't know if he's pulling my leg or not, but he seemed to be serious about the 4-2-2-2 that he lined up in, and you could sort of see it play out that way, I understand, with Chicharito and Cabral as the two up top forwards, and he didn't like the way that they sort of linked up and played and blah, 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 the whole deal. Okay, so that was his 4-2-2-2. He goes back now to more of a tried and true Greg Vanney system, which is a 4-3-3 in this particular game. He gets Kevin Cabral, Chicharito, and Grandsir as sort of those up forwards on the front three. You had Vasquez, Kleshin, and Lletget. Again, the same midfield that started against Seattle. Very veteran heavy, but also worry a little bit about the legs with Vasquez and Kleshin climbing up there in age. And then the back line was Villafana, Depew. And by the way, can we all just agree that his name is Depew because that's how you actually pronounce it? And just, some professionals sometimes, not the guys who call the game, but some other people sometimes screw that up. And so his name is Nick Depew. That's how you say it. It's not Dupuy as much as everybody. Yeah. I know we'd like it to because we can see it that way, but that's not how we say it. So Nick Depew, Sega Koulibaly was in there as well, and Julian Araujo with Jonathan Bond back there as keeper. The bench was interesting because you had Jonathan Dos Santos returning to, at least a lineup and finding the bench there, and he would find this game in the second half. Pipo Gonzalez on the bench, interesting, but with the injury to Dan Steres, not unexpected. Cameron Dunmore was there, Efrain Alvarez, Zubac, Saldana, Perez, and Fisher. So that was your lineups for the LA Galaxy, where, again, Sophie, in my mind, a 4-3-3, comfortable, Everybody has played this system before, and really it goes between a 4-3-3 and a 4-5-1, depending on if they're defending or attacking and doing all that. So a very comfortable position for the most part for the LA Galaxy to be in, and I like that from Greg Vanney. So
he's going to have to rotate. Go on, mate. Yeah, no, sorry.
No, it's fine.
No, you were going to go somewhere with your final.
No, I mean, I was basically going to say that sort of along the lines of what you were talking about. You knew that this lineup, while it was the best one I think that they could put out, and Grandsir is starting again since the first time since the loss to Portland, right? So he has not been starting. Efrain Alvarez has been starting, right? So he's been getting that position. Grandsir comes back, and now he gets that start again, and I think that's where he should be. So you get all that, but you're right about the rotation. You look at this, and the same thing I said whenever I saw the Seattle game is, the center of that midfield is going to have to be rotated. You're going to have to give guys breaks, especially knowing there was a game coming up against San Jose coming up this weekend as well. So, you knew that was built in. And if you go through the first half, what you saw was an LA Galaxy team that absolutely dominated possession. I think they finished with about 66% possession by the time halftime hit. It wasn't a Galaxy team that was devoid of ideas, Sophie. It was just a Galaxy team that did not capitalize on the chances and the spaces that they were in that first half, and that led to it being 0-0. Is that crazy? I mean, that's...
No. I mean, I know, and good evening to everyone in live chat. Hi, I hope everyone's well. What's interesting is that they've been solid, but there's these issues that I think we're going to see improve and be rectified as the season goes on. You and I said in one of our very early shows this season that this team is going to get better as the season goes. When you think about some of the new players that came in, they came in late, they weren't available. There was a little bit of makeshift necessities from Greg Vanney. And the good thing is that he's such a good coach that he can cope with these problems. Sometimes also I wonder if he reminds me a little bit of Mikel Arteta. Is he being too clever? You know, does he try to fit square pegs in round holes? And I can't remember which game it was. Like, for example, Cabral, he's much better on the flanks, right, than he is playing down the middle. You can't play him down the middle. His first touch has been really good, but his second and third touch has been really poor. But I do think that we need to, take a step back and give him a bit of a break to try and settle into this league. It's not easy. He's come from a completely different country. His first touch, though, it's so funny because when I was watching the last home game, everyone was killing him on social media. And I thought to myself, his first touch is actually really good. What lets him down is his decision after that. And so it's things like that, Josh, that I believe the team need to really work on, because there's moments where players are making runs. Chicharito did that in the last home game. He's making really good runs, but there's indecision on that next ball. And if it's not Araujo, sometimes the ball isn't getting to the player's feet. So those are the things I found frustrating a little bit. They've definitely improved that as the games have gone on, but I think it's a bit of their Achilles heel right now. They're not clinical enough in that midfield to the final third. Yeah. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but
I do, and I'll tell you that in a Greg Vanney system, which is, and again, if we're playing a drinking game, every time I say Bruce Arena, you can take a drink and you won't last very long in here. I was listening to Counterattack on Sirius XMFC today, and Brian Dunseth was on there, and he did like a Bruce Arena like impression, and I cracked up, and I texted Dunny, and I'm like, can you just do the whole show of you being Bruce Arena? And he goes, sometimes I feel like I am. Just hold it. It was one of those. It was like, well, if we score more goals than the other guys, then we're gonna win, right? It was like that's a very Bruce thing to say, right?
So typical. I love it.
Right, exactly. And I was laughing, but even in the Bruce Arena system or in a Greg Vanney system, is that there is a lot of positioning and positioning before you even attack. There's probing, there's forward, there's back, there's side to side. I know people get frustrated with the side to side, but it serves a purpose. It's there for a reason. But the problem is if you don't have people who are fully comfortable in that system, it gets plodding. It is slow. And if you're not quick to notice those forward seams that open up as you're going side to side, this is Major League Soccer, and we can argue about where it sits in the overall world of soccer. But at the same time, we've seen the level of Major League Soccer rise and rise and rise. Those spaces aren't going to be there for very long. So if you're not decisive with who you're passing to, knowing where they're going to be and where they are,
Mm-hmm.
it can come off as slow. And that's what I think the first half, and a lot of the problems when the Galaxy get into problems, it's when they can't find those seams. It's whenever a team is sitting back and they can't exploit the little seams that they're seeing. And so side to side, back to back, you have to find those vertical seams. You have to find guys like Sasha Kljestan in this particular case, or Victor Vasquez, or Sebastian Lletget, who are able to receive that ball, turn, and hit vertical seam passes quickly. And I think that's where they struggle the biggest. And that, to me, is the first half. Plenty of chances, lots of possession. Vancouver didn't get a shot on goal, didn't get a shot in the entire first half.
But that's the problem, like possession football. But yeah, they could have walked off with a point. Okay, yesterday. It didn't happen, but it could have happened, right?
Right.
I actually think the team played better in the game they lost to Seattle.
Yes.
At home.
Yes.
And that speed was much more there. The breaks. You see, Araujo was fantastic in that game, though.
Mm-hmm.
And, albeit maybe when I think it was Araujo who made the cross and Chicha hit the crossbar.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that break?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that they played a little faster paced. But this issue with possession football is, you've got to make it count when you have the ball.
Yeah.
And one of the things I think that LA need to improve on as well is what they're doing off the ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's another area that needs to be a bit more clinical. And I think some players are really good at doing that. I think off the ball, the defense still a bit shaky. That's the one part of the team I think that still worries me. But it wasn't Depew, I think, was definitely at fault too, but Dunbar really was the one that totally lost his man on the equalizer. And I don't want to jump ahead at all here, but it's also what they're doing out of possession that I think is frustrating Greg Vanney as well.
Yeah, I mean, he talked about it. It's funny because we got everybody talking afterwards, and Chicharito was the first one to talk, and he was still out of breath. He was like, "I can't even catch my breath." He was doing the whole thing. Somebody asked him. It was in Spanish, and basically they said, "Hey, how are you doing?" And he goes, "Muerte," right? Like he's dead, right? And then I cracked up because that's hey, this white guy can actually knows what that word means in Spanish. So I thought it was funny, and I was cracking up because he's like dying over there, and he just wants to go. He even got that. If you go on our website, cornerofthegalaxy.com, we have the full media call up there. Watch what happens whenever they call my name and I'm ready to call. And then Chicharito's like, he's like, no more questions. And so, that's always nice whenever. Yeah. And by the way, don't blame him at all. That is not, I would want to get out of there as well. Go,
I loved his sigh. It was in between the Spectrum and Damien's question. Yep. And I thought, does he know he's still on camera here? It was hilarious.
Have you ever been at altitude? I mean, I'm sure everybody has, but when you're at altitude, and because I go to Colorado all the time to visit, and I go there, and you'll be fine. You'll be walking around. You'll just be there, and then you'll be sitting on the couch. Maybe you're watching TV or something. Next thing you know, you're like, I'm totally out of breath, and you didn't do anything, right? It's like that. And now imagine being a professional athlete and running around for 90 plus minutes and all that. So
I'll never forget being in Idaho skiing, and I just thought I was going to die. My mates are like, we're going higher. I go, see ya. I'll be at the bottom reading a book.
Yeah, have a nice day. As you go down, you get better instantly too. By the way, you go down and you get better. That's how altitude sickness and all that stuff works. So, a lot of stuff. But yeah, I mean, when you talk to Greg afterwards, it was funny because there was this elation, right? Everybody, they just pulled a rabbit out of their hat. I mean, quite honestly, Efrain Alvarez has no business hitting that ball in that spot and pulling that goal off after the game that he had before that. Like none whatsoever. And you're sitting there going, I can't even believe that happened. And we'll get into that a little more, but I want to get to Greg, which was he was immediately he was like, yeah, I mean, we're happy, we're excited. It was a roller coaster, the whole deal. He goes, but I was really disappointed with how we played in the second half. And so, when we look at the first half, Soph, and I tried to ask Chicharito this question, and I tried to set up some of the other guys to sort of find out, were you guys happy with how you played in the first half? Because you did create some chances. It's those final 2 and 3 balls. It's the runs and knowing where to look for people, the whole deal. But the goal that happened early in the second half where Cabral back pressed, which, by the way, such a wonderful, wonderful move on the back press and the Galaxy pressing in general, right? And he gets that ball, and then he's able to dump that off quickly to Sasha Kljestan. And that Sasha Kljestan pass might be one of the most beautiful passes I've ever sort of seen. I'm sure there's better ones. David Beckham hit one with the outside of his foot, like 40 yards across the field once. I saw it just like swing up and curve and just land like right in front of Landon Donovan. I remember that one specifically. But the fact is that I looked at that, and as soon as he hit it, I went, no, Sasha, that's where all the pressure's coming from, that side. Hit it to the other side. And then I was like, oh, no, shut up. It's fine. It's perfect. It's like, hey,
Well,
moron.
Chicharito did a great job with his run.
Perfect.
It was perfection, because you thought also that he'd mistimed it, but the pass was so. Can we just take a minute? I did send out a tweet and it was a bit cryptic, but
Yes.
Can we just take a minute to appreciate that Sasha Kleiston has got a lot of mileage on his football clock, right? And he's come in. Dos Santos has been injured. Clearly, there's a lot going on with Jonah and stuff. But he's come in and stepped in. He scored a really important penalty, took it from Chicharito as well, who didn't fancy it, which, by the way, was a little bit weird. But can we just appreciate him for a second? For a player to come in, he's not going to be able to play every game. He's there for a reason. He's part of the squad for a reason. I know he's slow. He's one of the side-to-siders. But it's just when you have a player of that experience that can pull a pass like that, Josh, that's really important as this season goes and in certain games as well. I thought Chicharito did a phenomenal job to get to that ball. I mean, it was like he just appeared out of nowhere, really. He seems more kind of nimble this season, doesn't he? He just got there. It was really important.
Well, and it's legit too, right? Because that run to me is a dead end run. Right, because you know you can't score from that, right? But you're making the run because you're hoping that you're going to be able to be slipped in. Which again, there was like 6 inches of space. I mean, so there was one Vancouver defender. I don't remember who it was, but if you go back and you watch it, he should have had that ball, right? But like he was surprised it came there too.
Yeah, he was,
and it skirted right past him. I'm like, that was my whole no. Oh yeah, no, okay, that's good. The whole deal. And so just that ball in the square. I mean, it's the simplest of goals. So if we see it all the time when really good teams are playing, it's you pass right through people and it's like they're not even there. That was one of those goals. That's what the LA Galaxy attack should look like. It should be Lletget pressing forward in more vertical roles, being more in the offensive zone. It should be Chicharito getting inside the box. By the way, the LA Galaxy have scored 14 goals this year. How many goals, Sophie, have been from outside the box? Tick tock.
3.
3. The answer is 0.
Wow.
The LA Galaxy have scored every single one of their goals, 14 goals, from inside the 18-yard box.
Well, that would be typical of Chicharito, right? Because that's his mantra. But there's still another, how many? 6?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. There are.
Josh math there.
Yeah. Don't make me do math. Yeah. There's another 6 goals in there, but I mean, everybody who's hit him has hit him from inside the box. Sasha Kleiston's game winner that he hits is just inside the box whenever he hit it against Miami. A lot of the stuff the Galaxy have done has been inside the box, which is great. I'm fine with that. I don't care if they go the whole season without scoring a goal from outside. The only thing I want them to still be able to do though is taking shots from outside the box, right? You still want that threat there. Outside of Jonathan Dos Santos completely wasting a rush by trying to chip the goalkeeper from 50 yards away, which normally I'm in favor of that, Soph. But when you're up 1-0, and the Galaxy were up 1-0 in the second half, they were trying to break Vancouver pressure because, remember, 66% possession to the LA Galaxy, right, in the first half. It ends 50-50. Just to understand how much possession Vancouver had in the second half, it ends 50-50.
Right. They didn't kill the game off, though. This is the other thing. They're going to have to learn, because they're going to play better teams than Vancouver.
Yes.
And it's going to be really important. You got to get the insurance goal. You can't be going into these games. And I think Greg talked about it too, right? I don't want us being in those situations where you dominate. You have all this possession and you're clinging on to a 1-0 lead in the end. And in the end, you could have conceded 2 points. They've got to be more clinical, got to finish chances. And they can't be too reliant. Listen, I love that Chicharito's scoring goals. Remember, I'm ready. I've got my humble pie baking in the oven for the end of the season.
Right.
There's nothing more beautiful than seeing him do well. Everyone's rooting for him. But they need to make sure they find goals from other players. And that is going to be important, especially as, we get into that August-September period as well. And, Alvarez, it's about time. I mean, I don't know when you want to get to him, but
talk about him.
It is about time. Was his strike inside the edge of the box?
Yes, it was.
He was
inside.
inside the box, wasn't he?
Yes, he
Yeah.
was.
After you said that, I couldn't remember if he was just right inside the box.
I mean, how lucky
take
did
it away with him? I mean, it's. I don't know where to start, but it's about time.
It should be. I mean, he's been getting. Everybody always complained that young players and especially young attacking players with the LA Galaxy didn't get chances. You can't say that about Efrain Alvarez.
He's had so many chances. And under multiple managers as well, he's been given chances. GBS gave him chances. Clearly, Greg Vanney's giving him chances.
Right.
And to me, I've always felt like he's so frustrating. The raw talent is there, but there's always something missing. It's either, his decision making. Sometimes he holds on to the ball too long. I think he feels so much pressure, Josh, that he tries to do too much sometimes.
Maybe.
But he needs to overcome that now. He does. And maybe a goal like that and a goal like last night is going to really change the trajectory of the expectations and seeing really finally the talent that he can deliver. Because his inconsistency, for me, I think he's been the most inconsistent player over the last 2 seasons. Yeah. And he gets so many chances.
He does. And I mean, here's the perfect perfect Efrain Alvarez play was in this game. He's getting closed down inside the attacking third by 2 Vancouver players. The ball is passed to him, and he puts in a slip move where he's able to evade both of the players as they come in. And it's like, he just opened up all this space. He has it. He's now at the top of the box, and he gets to make his choice of shooting or passing. He's going to pass, which is the right play, and he flubs the pass. He did the hard part, and he flubbed the pass, right? And if you go into what he did earlier in this game, it was give up possession. Give up possession. He is a guy who I think has technical ability that's in the A range, right? I mean, in tight spaces, he can do crazy, amazing things. So that's huge. His passing ability and his ability to find passes is A+, because whenever he hits them right, he's one of those guys like Sasha Kleshin. He's going to find the pass you didn't expect it to go to, right? He can do that. But in terms of his game speed, of how fast he plays, not how quick he is, not how fast he runs, but how fast he plays, for me, if he gets time, which he gets in lower level soccer, he just tears people apart. Now that he's up playing with professionals at the Major League Soccer level, he doesn't have that time, and when they close him down, he doesn't perform in that way. I hope, and certainly if you look at the quickness at which he's able to settle the ball and shoot the ball in this, I hope he found his game speed, because if he's able to do that, he can score.
It's not only his game speed, but it's his football brain, right? It's as sometimes a player can be slow, but David Beckham is the perfect example of a player that really didn't have a lot of pace.
Right.
But the way he always thought 2 steps ahead of everyone about the pass. Mesut Ozil's like that, right? I'm bringing up like world-renowned players here. It's not fair on Alvarez, but I'm trying to give an example of, as much as he's got to be quick with his feet, he can't give the ball away cheaply. It's his brain. It's the thinking process, right? Chicharito, he's had so much experience. He thinks, I'm going to make this run because this could happen. And sometimes with younger players, they're just not there yet, and some are, but they're few and far between. And I think that's part of his game he needs to work on.
Right.
He needs to read the game a little bit better, and that's going to come with more experience, but also more confidence. And hopefully that goal is going to give him that confidence.
It has to. I think if he's ever going to reach the potential that everybody thinks he's going to have, he has to start producing here. And listen, let's not knock the guy who just saved the LA Galaxy's butt with a goal.
I know, right? Everyone's going to be killing us because they're like, "Come on, dudes."
I get it. I mean, the whole deal. But seeing him and seeing his smile afterwards, because he talked to us after the game as well, and seeing him be like, I've been waiting for that opportunity, like in that spot. He goes, we talk about being in the right place at the right time and having that like brain to be there. He in this particular case, he was there. It gets headed by 2 Vancouver Whitecaps. 2 Vancouver Whitecaps. They had 2 chances to clear the ball, and they literally passed it right to him. And he's able to settle and hit it with his left foot. And that left foot is, it's not world class, at least not yet, but it has the potential to be world class, because if you want to say like Carlos Vela, and if anytime he cuts in on his left foot, You know he can range that shot, and you know he can score from there. If Efrain Alvarez can start doing those types of things where he can range with his left foot, he can cut across, he can create just a little tiny opening in space, you know he has the skill available to be able to place it anywhere on that net. He showed that at every level.
You know, I was really encouraged. This is why I brought up the thinking part, because when he said he decided to wait for the ball, he didn't go to the ball in that instance. He had a hunch. That is the part of his game. Like, to hear him say that out loud, I was like, yes, dude, now you're thinking, you know what I mean? Right. And if Carlos Vela had made that finish, everyone would be waxing lyrical about it. Oh, it's world class. Right. It was a beautiful finish. It was technically brilliant, and it had a world class stamp written all over it. But the key is you've got to have an impact more than that. You just can't show up and do that and then, you know, go AWOL again. That's the part of his game he's just got to really improve.
This is one of the big things I don't want to have happen, though. I do not want Efrain Alvarez to be like Jose Villarreal, and it's funny because it came against the same team. But Jose Villarreal's entire career was defined by a goal he scored against Vancouver. All right. And everybody was like, oh, but remember that goal he scored against Vancouver and all that stuff. I don't want this to be Efrain Alvarez's, oh, I wish we could have, oh, remember whenever he scored that goal against Vancouver, though? Like, I don't want, it's the Giovanni Dos Santos argument to a certain degree, much lesser degree, right? Remember when Giovanni Dos Santos scored that goal in the Gold Cup against the United States?
Yes.
It's a career making goal, right?
Yes, it is. But also with Alvarez, it's like these proteges and stuff like that. I just think back to like even a Freddie Adu, you know, where they promised the world and you've got all of these expectations and it just never happened. I mean, you know, he was going to be the king, right, of the US soccer, and it just did not work out. And yeah, you're right. It's really important that you don't get defined by that moment. It's down to him now. He's going to get chances. Greg's going to give him chances, and hopefully he's got a coach that's going to coach him up, because he's a player that needs coaching up. One
of our listeners, Feel the Berm, says, "Is there room in the oven for Efra humble pie, Sophie? Are you and I ready to eat?" I am always. I think there's this I don't know, this idea that again, I cover the team. I would like everybody who I cover to be good, right? Because it's such fun to be around people who are at the peak of their game, talking about it, feeling it, explaining it to us. I mean, I smile from ear to ear whenever you talk to a guy who just scored a wonder goal. Like Efrain Alvarez was there, and it's this cute 19-year-old kid. I mean, I'm almost 40. I can say he's a cute little kid. He's a cute little kid, and he's sitting there, and he's like, man, he goes, I've been waiting for that moment. He had a little smile on his face, and it lights you up, and it feeds you, right? We watch this game for those moments because that was unexpected. I was typing 113 seconds, Sophie. 113 seconds between Vancouver tying the game and Efrain Alvarez winning the game for the LA Galaxy. And I said that, and somebody responded on Twitter and said, so I was angry for 113 seconds, huh? It felt a lot longer, right? So
I mean that's crazy. How old is Julian Araujo? Is he not 19, 20?
He's 20, I think. He's a year older. Yeah.
There's a big difference between their maturity level, how they come across. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
They're only a year apart, right? And Araujo seems like he's ready to maybe even go to the Premier League next season, right?
Right. Yes.
I'm not going to give that up, by the way.
He's going to Arsenal. He's going to Arsenal.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you know, Efrain, you could tell he's a little less evolved. Right? Maybe he comes across still as a boy, versus Araujo, who's only a year older, comes across like he's a man now, you know?
A lot can happen in a year when you're younger, right? So, I mean...
Exactly.
And everybody develops at their own. So I know, and I see it too. You're right. And if you're sitting there as an LA Galaxy fan, right? And you're sitting there saying, hey... you look at Julian Araujo and you're like, Julian Araujo is ready to go play on, Real Madrid or AC Milan, right? It's all these places. He's ready to go. Whoever picks him up is ready. He's ready to go out there and he's going to just tear people up. He's going to try his hardest. If he's not the best on the field, he's still going to try harder than everybody else. Right. And Efrain Alvarez is a different player, plays a different position, but at the same time, you're like, he's not ready. He's not ready to start in Major League Soccer yet.
No, but I'll be more than happy to eat a second humble pie.
Yes,
maybe
absolutely.
with a little whipped cream or ice cream.
That's it
yes.
exactly. By the way, we got a super chat from Herb, $25 super chat because Herb is Mr. Moneybags over here, and we appreciate it. He goes, shout out to Sophie. He goes, hey Josh, will there be a hype up video? I'm gonna yell at Hammer and see if we can get a hype up video. We won't have one for today. And I am expecting the Hammer back because he's been gone for 3 weeks next week. So
shoddy, absolutely shoddy.
He's abandoning post. I don't know what to tell you. You know, he's lazy. He's going to be put on the bench is what's going to happen. He's going to be put on the bench. And Herb also says, our people, the listeners, experience rough times. Don't see many super chats anymore. Herb, I agree with you. I mean, hey, I think really what the problem is that everybody's too excited about the LA Galaxy winning and is spending all that money on, you know, shirts and kits and all the good stuff that is out there, and that's why we're not seeing it as well. So yeah, it's all good. However you guys want to do it. And I am still working on a live show. Coming up, possibly July 31st is when we're targeting, and I'm working on a venue and all that, and we're going to do a live in person, and it's going to be a Galaxy podcast plus Josh's 40th birthday party. So we're going to try to put that all together and get everybody there. So hopefully save your money for that as well. You're going to need some beer money for
the last time you did that at LA Galaxy. I think it was just before the pandemic hit, right?
Yes.
It was raining, but it was the crowd turnout was amazing. Hundreds of people. It was absolutely brilliant. So it'd be fun to do that again.
Our listeners are amazing. And by the way, Pam chimes in as well and goes, Hammer got too famous with the Galaxy posting his video on game day. Absolutely. 100%, Pam. Nail on the head.
It's gone to his head.
Absolutely. That's what it is. And Alex says, Sophie, you need to do a dramatic game preview with your best like Moulin Rouge accent. That's what. Yes.
Well, maybe next time we could arrange that for sure.
We can make it happen. We
can make that happen. No problem.
Here's the thing. We talk about all the stuff that sort of happened in that second half, and I don't like that the Galaxy collapsed backwards. I don't like that they struggled to maintain. I think some of the subs that Greg made had to be made, but also the players that were brought in weren't exactly players that were going to help them close out that game. Jonathan Dos Santos is a great player, but he's a defensive midfielder. And while you needed defense, you also needed somebody who was going to press forward in that center and sort of make it. That should be Sebastian Lletget.
Jonah's really not there.
Not 100%. No,
he's not. But he's going to need games like this to help him, you know, move things along and stuff like that. And some of the subs, even Alvarez didn't have a great game. Saldana, I'm not sure about him.
You have to rotate, right? I mean, you know you have to rotate. So in this particular case, you can't blame Greg for rotating because you had to get Vasquez and you had to get Kleshin out of there, right?
Vasquez was very quiet. He wasn't the commander-in-chief in general last night.
He didn't play very well.
No.
I didn't like his passing. I didn't like his distribution. It was one of his poor games, and that's fine. But again, Sebastian Lletget didn't do anything bad. Had the good pass and the good run that led to the goal. But what is it with him? Because I watch him on the U.S. men's national team, and that is a guy who is electric, and he's playing against much better competition than in Major League Soccer most of the time. Mm-hmm. So, I'm questioning, is it Vanny and him? Are they not together? Have they not figured it out? Yeah.
When there's a situation like that in the national team, it's a little bit like right now, Raheem Sterling is shining for England at the Euros. I think Gareth Southgate has just said to him, and he said to a lot of his players, just go out there and express yourselves, right? And he didn't have a good season with Man City. Lletget's one of those players, I think, that he loves to feel the love. And Greg is more of he's not Bruce, but he is a taskmaster. He's very like matter of fact and stuff. But I think he's very important to both teams, though, Josh. If LA Galaxy are going to progress and make a run in the playoffs, they need Lletget playing well, and they need to figure that part out. And once you have a super fit Jonah, you've got Vasquez, you've got Lletget, you've got what's that forward line look like, right? What does it look like when everybody's fit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, yeah. And that's the whole thing too and I think you sort of hit it on the head there is we haven't seen what this team even looks like in quote unquote full strength mode yet.
Correct.
There's people missing. You got Derek Williams, who's still suspended. You have the injury to Dan Steres. You have Koulibaly, who's coming in, but Nick DePuy is not a starter on this team anymore, but he is right now because people are injured and he needs to play. And I thought that, yes, it's Dunbar's fault on the goal. We agree with that. But, I mean, DePuy had every chance to step into that next challenge right after Dunbar gets blown by. And instead, he's defending, like, non-dangerous space. He just keeps shrinking back and back. And so, a big problem with DePuy there.
LA won't do anything if he plays often. I'm sorry to be so harsh.
Yes.
But it's not. You better hope that Derek Williams, I think, is going to come back a totally different player with a brand new attitude.
Yep.
And he's going to learn from that debacle that we all saw, and we've all talked about it.
It was a bad tackle, but at the same time, he was a good defender. I mean, he was who you wanted to see out there.
Absolutely, absolutely. He's what's missing. It's like Liverpool's end piece to a solid back line was getting Virgil van Dijk and Alisson, right?
Right.
For LA Galaxy, what was the position? You needed that strong CB, and what did you need even more than that? A really good goalkeeper. And I'll tell you something, my man of the match is 00 Bond. Yeah. I mean, the dude is on another level. He is making a huge difference to this team, the confidence he's giving to them. And do you know what I love? When he concedes or when the team loses, you feel it, you see it, and you know he's completely and utterly annoyed, pissed off, angry, call it what you want.
Right.
That dude feels his football. And he is, I said it on the show a long time ago, he is probably one of the best signings in years that this team has made.
Absolutely, 100%. LA Galaxy, by the way, third in the league in save percentage. That's all Jonathan Bond, by the way, because he's the only goalkeeper who's played. So out of all the teams, they are third. Now, they have faced a ton of shots, not all the shots, but a ton of shots, and he is third in save percentage. That should tell you how good he is and has been. And he had a huge save in the 96th minute that came up. So, all right,
what a save!
Amazing save. Let's get to a huge shout out, by the way. Miss Pink, happy 40th birthday to you, Miss Pink. So she gets a huge shout out, and she gave us a $40 super chat.
Wow, happy birthday.
Yes, so another
we should be giving her $40 or treating her or buying her drinks.
Hey, calm down. That's No, it's great. And also 1981, an 80s baby. So thank you very much. 1981 for her as well. So congratulations. And yes, hopefully we will have a place live podcast for you all to come. So happy 40th birthday. Sophie will sing to you very shortly, I'm sure. So maybe we'll save that for the end. So that's where we are with the LA Galaxy. They get the victory. That's good because they needed to get the victory. If you want to see any of the charts that I had, I mean, there's shooting charts that you can sort of take a look at, and there we'll go to my favorite chart, which is the average passing chart. I'll tell you, it looks a lot more crazy than you think it does, just because Grandsir tucked in a little bit. There were some things in there, but overall, a much better passing chart and average position chart than against Seattle. And so you look at that and say, okay, much better.
Is this for both halves? Is this a summary of both halves?
It is a summary of both, and then they don't even do substitutes. So it's not perfect, but it sort of gives you an idea of where everything is. And again, backline has the strongest passing network whenever you're looking at it, right? Araujo and Sega Koulibaly, who has been nothing but solid, and he had one mistake in this game, and he covered it. And so I'm perfectly happy with how he's been playing and where he's been going. The big thing here is expected goals, right? If you look at the LA Galaxy and between total team expected goals and where everything sort of fell, and the Flow expected goals is even worse, because I think Flow had Vancouver around 2 goals and the LA Galaxy had like 0.2. But if you just looked at straight up expected goals, and don't make me explain the difference, I don't know it either, but basically it was 1-1. So this probably should have ended in a draw, which I think everybody can look at and say, yeah, it probably should have ended in a draw, 1-1. And Efrain Alvarez pulls the rabbit out of his hat, and after that, hey, that's it. That's how it goes. So that's where we're at. The other thing that happened because of this is Efrain Alvarez and his wonder goal gets him on the bench of Team of the Week. So he is an LA Galaxy player who's put on the bench. I think it was just MLS headquarters trying to acknowledge the goal more than anything else, because if you put it on balance, I'm not sure he makes that that
Yeah.
team of the week. But that's fine. I'm not gonna argue. So for
I mean, it's a nice gesture, isn't it? I mean, the goal is potentially, I don't know what's going to happen this weekend, and
goal of the week.
Yeah, absolutely.
So guess what MLS did? They decided that all the games midweek constitute a week, and so we had team of the week and goal of the week will all be decided before we then play the weekend, which will be its own week as well. I don't know why they decided. I like it better that way. I can't keep games and all that stuff straight between all those things.
That's interesting.
If we go to the LA Galaxy, we look at the points. We are in some rarefied air in terms of 26 seasons now. Trending in 26 seasons for the LA Galaxy. This is tied for the 5th best start in LA Galaxy history. You have to go back to 1996 and 1999, where they both had 25 points after 9 games, but of course there were no shootouts and all sorts of fun stuff like that. Or you could look at the second best, which was in 2010, 23 points, I think is what it says. 23 points in 2010 after 9 games. We know that 2010 team ended up winning the Supporters' Shield that year. And then you go into 2000 and 2005 that had 19 points respectively. And then you get into 2016 and 2021, which are sort of 5th. I forgot to mention the 3rd best start in LA Galaxy history, Sophie, was in 2019. So it wasn't even that long ago, where the LA Galaxy were on their way, but not quite. So I thought
but that's 2019. Is that gosh, the years of 2019, Zlatan was still there.
First year. Zlatan's first year. Ola Kamara. That was the one where they had a lot of talent and they should have made the playoffs and they should have done a lot of things. And none of that stuff really ended up happening. So
no, it did not. It all went Pete Tong, as we say, a bit pear-shaped after that, mate.
It did indeed. If you look at the LA Galaxy and their average points per game right now, sitting at 2.00 points per game. The average overall for the LA Galaxy is 1.53, and 2020 ended with 1. So they've doubled that where it is. Quite honestly, if the season ended right now, which is not going to, and these things will even out, I expect it to go back towards the average, which is 1.53. If it ended right now, this would be the 2nd best points per game in LA Galaxy history. Just to
That's amazing.
9 games.
Look at the listen, COG listeners. I hope you're appreciating these charts, because one of my favorite things about coming on the show are Josh's charts. I mean, and the rainbow chart was just on another level.
It's one of my favorites. Absolutely, the points per game and charting that and seeing how that goes is absolutely one of my favorites. If you look right now, the LA Galaxy, because they have scored 14 goals and conceded 14 goals, Sophie, if we project that out over 34, we get to just shy of 53 goals on either side. Now, 53 goals is on the scoring side is a little above average. 48 is the average for goals scored by the LA Galaxy over their 25 plus seasons. If we look at at where they would in terms of goals against, we would have to look at the 42 or 41 and a half goals is the average, and so the 53 would be over that average. So really, what needs to happen as the LA Galaxy play some of these poor teams, and San Jose is one of those. So if we want to see that come backwards towards us, right? We want to see the goals against come down and the goals for go up a little bit and see some separation. Right now, goal differential is exactly 0, which is always fun. Zero is
zero. We like zeroing out on things, don't we?
Absolutely. And
well, what's this little puppy here?
So we have table positions. So sort of seeing where the LA Galaxy bounce from, Western Conference and Supporters' Shield and where it is. Currently sitting in 3rd and 4th Western Conference and Supporters' Shield respectively. We can see that the worst the LA Galaxy have been this season so far is I think they were down to 7th in the Supporters' Shield and 5th in the Western Conference, and so far they've sort of stayed up there. I know Kevin was digging around. Kevin was digging around trying to find some things that was that he was trying to figure out where the LA Galaxy were, like in July. Like, when was the last time the LA Galaxy were, in the top 3 in the table in July? And so I think he's going to have some of that for his story. He was looking for it. He was digging around, stuff like that. And by the way, everybody reminded me 2019 was the playoff loss year, right? Is that right? Because 2020 was the
Wait, did we make
year.
the playoffs in
2019 they did. 2018 was when Ola was there, right?
Oh,
And then,
2019 was the loss to LAFC, the 5-3.
Yes. There you go. Yeah. And by the way, Mr. Provino points out that with the LA Galaxy at 18 points right now, which they are at, Sophie, they are at 18 points through 9 games, which gives them that 2 points per game average right there. But in 2020, the LA Galaxy finished after 22 games with 22 points. The LA Galaxy are only 4 points away from matching the entire total.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So just, and again, shortened season in 22 games, but you're not even halfway there, and you're 4 points away from the total from last year. So you can say the LA Galaxy maybe have won games they shouldn't have, which I would agree in some cases. But right now, the LA Galaxy are scoring points. They have points. They're in the bag already. They don't have to be like, oh, well, we'll get points later. They're getting points now.
And I think your stats, the eye test matches what your stats are saying, because they look better. They're playing better. They seem more cohesive. They've got a better manager, right? So
I mean, right?
It's night and day. It's night and day. But yeah, I mean, I think he's the kind of manager that knows, as the season goes, it's going to get tougher. But he's been there before. He's won it all. And I like where this team is going. I think this team, as I've said, is going to improve as the season goes. Some teams might drop off. I think this team's going to improve, especially that defense when Derek Williams comes back as well.
Yeah,
I think you'll see less goals being conceded as well.
I think he has
cheap goals, I should say.
I think he has 3 more games. Cheap goals, yeah. I think he has 3 more games to be suspended, if I remember correctly, because it's good. Basically, it's going to be San Jose. It's going to be the 4th of July game, and I think it's the 7th against. I can't remember. The 4th of July is Sporting Kansas City. I actually have the schedule as one of my talking points. We'll talk about it whenever we get there, but I think he has 3 more games left. I'll have to double check it. Let's talk about something ugly. Here we go. That's fun. The Major League Soccer decided that, and they have done this before, Sophie, so this is not a surprise, but they put out a training top that all the teams wear on 4th of July or around the 4th of July holiday, right? Everybody wears the training top. They're all wearing the same one. It's usually patriotic with some red, white, and blue in there, and it does a whole bunch of fun stuff. And they went with a little throwback there. It's supposed to be sort of a wavy flag look, and I think it was after one of the U.S. men's national team kits, maybe in the early 90s or somewhere in there. I didn't see exactly where it came from, but if you look at it, what it really looks like is a Chivas USA kit that got a little sloppy drunk, maybe, and that was how it happened. So,
can I ask, is this MLS's official photo of the shirt?
I don't know. I mean, this is the LA Galaxy one.
Oh, right?
Okay. So because it has the LA Galaxy crest on it, every team has their basically a black and white crest on top of the red wavy. They're red vertical stripes that are wavy with white, obviously vertical stripes in there. So a little bit of Where's Waldo, but in the vertical sense.
Yeah.
And then a navy blue. It looks like collar and sleeves, or at least edging on the collar and the sleeves.
It's horrible, to the point where I'm thinking, I could really use a fried Oreo right now and a chicken stick.
Yeah.
Because what's in the background is far more interesting than that shirt. I was already upset because I wasn't a huge fan of the US Olympic shirt, than the blue and the red. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yes. Uh-huh.
But this is wow, this is horrible, but I would definitely take one of those chicken sticks right now, especially as they're an A restaurant back there, Josh.
They did get A rated. Yes. And they take cash, and they have an ATM in that restaurant as well. So I'm glad. If you're on the podcast portion of it, you can certainly go through and take a look on the YouTube video of this one as well, and sort of see what we're talking about. But yeah, not the prettiest kit. And here's the other thing is, LA Galaxy fans are going to be averse to this because it is clearly close to at least a Chivas USA color scheme, and normally they sort of shy away from that.
No one's buying that, mate. No Galaxy fan is buying that shirt.
And that's my problem, though, is that Adidas is going to be like, well, see, the Galaxy fans don't buy things. It's like, no, we don't buy. People don't buy the bad designs. Look what happened with the community kit. It's a great design. Everybody bought it, right? And they sold out, and they did everything. If it's good, then you can use it, right? I mean, if it's good. If it's not good, they're not gonna buy it. Anyway, these are the training tops. They will be available. You start looking for them. If you want one, you can buy one. I'm sure there'll be plenty available. You might want to just wait until they show up at TJ Maxx or Marshall's.
But I love it how, you can't expect fans to just put their hands in their pockets and just go buy this shirt. And you certainly can't expect LA Galaxy fans to buy a shirt that, reminds them of,
Are LAFC fans going to buy the shirt?
They'll probably buy it in abundance.
I would think they'd want to stay arm's length away from that as well. But hey, whatever. Mike Gray, by the way, says, I saw that photo and thought the dude looked like a chicken stick. Not wrong. Not wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it was not the best. If you're going to entice me to buy it,
right,
you got to sell it a little better than that.
He should have been holding a chicken stick. I probably would have bought it.
Holding a chicken stick, totally.
Maybe you get a free chicken stick if you buy that jersey. That would work too. I might do it. And Mike, by the way, be nice. Be wise. Be nice, Mike. All right. I'm gonna tell you. Don't make me come over there and tell you again. Let's go. Let's see. I'll bring up my little thing here again. Make sure we're covering anything. Oh yeah. The LA Galaxy are already in San Jose. Just a FYI on that. They flew today. They landed about 12:35 p.m. So they are in San Jose. They're supposed to train tomorrow. And they'll train tomorrow.
I saw your flight tracker. I saw the post.
I retweeted it. Somebody took basically my dream job, which is like sports plus aviation, is tracking all these flights. So already, if you guys are hiring, I'm there. If you go on @sportsaviation on Twitter, that's where you can find these wonderful tracking. And I think they're using, let's see, that's Flight Radar. It might be Flight Radar or Flight Aware. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of trackers that you can use to track flights, and so that's one of the ones that is there. So yeah, just in case you ever wanted to track a flight, I do it all the time. Lots of fun. Good times. Yeah, I know. Sophie's like, yep, that makes sense. We do have media availability coming up tomorrow on Friday as we talk. Right now we're recording on Thursday night, so on Friday there will be media availability. We expect to get some updates. One of the updates we expect to get is that Ryan Ravalason, we know he has his visa. We know he was supposed to be headed towards the United States. The Galaxy tell me they're still expecting him this week, but if they're still expecting him, that means he is not here yet. So he is not here yet, and they are expecting him, and maybe he landed between, the 3 p.m. whenever I talked about it and right now, but as we're going, he has not arrived yet, which means that he's sort of in danger of missing the window, which is if he gets in now, then July 4th is within reach of him being ready to play. And with the injuries to Jonah and with Jonah not being able to handle and shoulder a whole bunch of the load with the quick games coming, you're going to want to get him integrated in as fast as possible. So that's another little thing to sort of keep an eye on. And then, of course, we look at standings and everything else. I'll just tell you the LA Galaxy are in third. Sporting Kansas City is a team you're going to want to watch in the Western Conference. They are very good, and they lead the league in a bunch of different categories, so keep an eye on them. And then the sneaky little Mountain West people of Colorado, Robin Fraser, 16 points right now on 9 games, so just 2 points off of where the LA Galaxy are. And they are a dangerous team because nobody's paying any attention to them. So between SKC and Colorado, there's 2 little sneakers in the Western Conference that are playing very good soccer.
I could never, Stan Kroenke team, no, absolutely no. That's got to stop immediately. So let's put the kibosh on that one, shall we? Yeah. Hey, I fancy, we'll do it eventually, but, is it going to be a Bruce Arena, Greg Vanney final?
You got Bruce Arena.
How amazing would that be?
Eastern Conference, 23 points right now.
Yep.
And so, one of the top in the league, and obviously the other top in the league is the Seattle Sounders with 24 points. So,
you can never rule those folks out. You can't. Jeez, they're so good.
They're doing it while they're injured. It's not even like, if they get some injuries, it's like, no, they've had the injuries. They're just like, yeah, no problems. Brian Schmetzer has a great system, and those guys just buy in 100%, and they're a veteran-laden teteam, and they know what they're doing. Bottom line, that's where we go. All right, let's shift gears, though, because we are a little tardy in getting to, really the big game this weekend. It's Cali Clasico, LA Galaxy versus the San Jose Earthquakes coming up at PayPal Park, 7 p.m. is the time. The kickoff itself is at 7:08 p.m., so not a ton of time. I know there are people headed up to San Jose for this game. I know there are buses headed up for it. I know the LA Galaxy fans are planning on making it quite a fun day. So travel safely. The people who are going up there, enjoy it, because it's not often that San Jose actually decides to play the LA Galaxy at PayPal Park. Usually they do it at Stanford Stadium, and so this could be one of those one-off games that you can say you were there. Also, Sophie, 10-year anniversary coming up on the 25th of Mike McGee's playing goalkeeper and shutting out the San Jose Earthquakes in that game. So 10 years. I was at that game.
I cannot believe it's been 10 years since that game. That was so epic. That was just absolutely brilliant. And Mike McGee, what a legend. What an absolute top shelf geezer he is. That was just one of the most fun games since I've been covering MLS. Yeah. I love moments like that when someone's got a player's Rooney's done it. It's so epic to see John Terry's done it too, actually.
Yeah.
It was great. Love it.
It's super fun. By the way, Lou asks, does PayPal have better grass now? Technically, they have a hybrid system now. So they actually replaced their turf. So there are little synthetic fibers woven into the natural grass, which is actually what they do a lot in England. There's a lot of hybrid turf fields in England. I think the Spurs Stadium is that way. I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal is that way in the climate that is in England, trying to grow grass and keep it. They give it the support of those synthetic fibers, but like it's like 97% or 98% real grass, but it's 2% synthetic fibers, and that really helps everything, sort of hold together. So yes, by the way, Lou, yes, actually they did fix the grass over the off season as it goes.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah,
that's a good thing. This isn't a very good San Jose team right now.
No. Let's see. They're on a 3-game losing streak. I think they're winless in 6. They're coming off a 5-0 loss, which, by the way, is a disappointing. I know everybody's going to look at the Orlando game because they flew to Orlando and then they got beat 5-0. That's a horrible score if you're an LA Galaxy fan, because what you wanted to have happen, Sophie, was that San Jose was actually going to be in the game and have to play the full 90 minutes. As it was, I think they went through 2 or 3 weather delays in that game, and San Jose was losing 4-0 in the first half. So Almeida made some subs in the second half, was like, we're out of here. So he already pulled some of the guys that were going to play in this game coming up this weekend at halftime, and so now you get a team that got a day jump because they played on Tuesday night. Galaxy played on Wednesday night. It is a longer trip coming from Orlando, obviously. So coming back, I think the advantage there for the LA Galaxy may have been lost a little bit, but you hope that San Jose comes into this with heavy travel legs and isn't well prepared and is still in a funk that sees them basically not have won a game in the last 5 or 6 games and on a 3-game losing streak and coming off a 5-0 loss.
Yeah, but with all that said, Josh, you know as well as I do, this is a derby and it's San Jose, and it's just, form goes out the window with these games. It's a cliche for a reason, but it's true. And so you can never just rest on the laurels of the fact that they're poor, their league position's poor, their results have been poor. They're letting in and leaking goals. This is a great opportunity for LA Galaxy to take 6 points in the space of 4 days.
Right.
4 days.
4 days, yeah.
It's and take advantage of this team right now in the form that they're in. But it is San Jose, and we've seen some classics over the years, haven't we? Really, when it comes to these two teams playing each other,
yeah,
the real rivalry,
right?
In California so far.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at, they just played each other May 29th, right? The LA Galaxy won on a grand sure, a cross that was put into the goal on an own goal, right? It was a 1-0 win for the Galaxy. The Galaxy played well in the game, probably should have capitalized. I mean, it feels like a broken record. We've talked about this before. Galaxy have the possession. The Galaxy are dangerous. Galaxy have not been able to put teams away. That's the next step for this team. I think asking them to do anything, Sophie, against San Jose in San Jose, second road game in a row, is a lot. So I think if you're going into this and saying, oh, they absolutely will get 3 points, that you're out of your dang mind. I say they may have a chance for 3 points, but if they do, they're going to have to play smart, and they're going to have to steal some things from San Jose, because San Jose is going to be jacked up for this game and play. And again, the second road game in a row. The Galaxy haven't been home. They traveled directly from Salt Lake to San Jose. It's a lot. It's a lot on the bodies. It's been a lot of minutes already between the Seattle game, between all these things. So, when you see and look at this, I say, get 4 points from this road trip. 4 points from this road trip is a perfect road trip. Yeah. Right.
Just don't lose the game. Just don't lose the game. There's going to be, I could see a penalty. I could see LA getting a penalty in this game. I think it's going to be decided by something like that. And I don't know, maybe on the counter, we'll see. I fancy LA Galaxy to win this 2-0, to be honest. But
I understand why you say that. I get it. I get the momentum that is there, and clearly, if these two teams were meeting at a neutral venue and they both had 7 days of rest and they're coming into this on a normal schedule, I would say the LA Galaxy win this 2-0, and I think I'm there. I really want to. I feel like there's a letdown coming, and it's going to be tired. It's going to be the rotation. It's going to be something that is going to affect this game. And because it's a rivalry game, so hard to predict, right?
Yeah.
And
no, it's true. It's true. Yeah.
So it's one of those. San Jose will put shots on goal. We know that. San Jose is third in the league in shots. They have 144. By the way, the LA Galaxy are 22nd in the league in shot with 100. So 44 shots behind San Jose. San Jose is second in the league in shots on target. They have 63. The Galaxy are 20th. They have 34 shots on target. And San Jose leads the league in shot percentage, basically the number of shots that are the percentage of shots that actually land on target at 43.8%. And the Galaxy are 11th at 34%. Galaxy actually climb up in shot percentage whenever that happens. That's all those shots from inside the box that they're taking there. So if that does help eventually. Let's see. I was trying to see. We talked about the LA Galaxy not having scored a ball from outside the box. Well, San Jose has scored 4 of their 11 goals, and they've only scored 11. 4 of their 11 goals outside the box. Right, so they are a team. I heard it in the Orlando game, and I sort of chuckled. But they're like, Almeida has never seen a shot that he didn't like. Right, so it doesn't matter if you get the ball and you shoot it. That is San Jose, and certainly it's one of those.
But you got to take shots outside the box. You got to have, and they're struggling to create chances in that 6-yard area, I think too. So I mean, you got to take shots outside the box. I wish you said it earlier. We need to do that a lot more as well. So I always look forward to these games because it's like Forrest Gump. It's like a box of chocolates. You never quite know what you're going to get. Maybe a sending off, a penalty. I think there's going to be that kind of decision in this weekend.
Yeah, and you don't need that either, right? Because the next game is on July 4th, right? So you have a little bit of recovery, you have a little bit of time. You play Sporting Kansas City, which I just told you is a sneaky team that is second in the Western Conference right now and is just leading in so many different categories, in this league. So they're a very good team, and Peter Vermees is just an amazing coach. He's one of my favorite. Peter Vermees is Oscar Pareja, who's Orlando City's coach, is one of my favorite MLS coaches. I mean, up there, Bruce Arena is obviously there.
I love your man crush on Oscar.
Oscar, awesome. Oscar, he just goes. He does not care about anything, but he puts together such smart teams. They're so soccer smart, and I love seeing. Watch Orlando City just bury San Jose early and often. Right, 5-0. And by the way, that 5-0 basically meant that San Jose has given up 17 goals this season. So they came in having given up only 12, and then they leave having given up 17, and is tied for the second worst defense in the league because of that. Toronto has given up 18 goals so far.
They've got to be a bit more clutch, though, haven't they? Really,
yeah, they have to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
no more excuses for them.
There can't be. And Almeida, and they rightfully pointed out in the chat room, is Almeida is playing for a job. I mean, he is, because right now they haven't won in 6 games. They're struggling. They're near the bottom in terms of standings. Winning against the LA Galaxy right now would be, some medicine for them. It would certainly help them get back on track. Rightfully, here's the LA Galaxy mindset going into that. So is we have a chance to bury this team right now. We could break their season by winning this game, bury them even further, make them go winless in 7, make it the 4th loss in a row. You just gave Vancouver the 5th loss in a row. So having said all of that, this is a game where points are available to be taken, but I don't know if the LA Galaxy are going to put themselves in a position to take them. The 3rd game in a week is a tough one on the road. There's a lot of things working against the Galaxy here.
Definitely. But we'll see what happens. I'm being invaded by the dogs right now. Somehow they've opened the door, and you can hear little Vespa. She's like, "Mummy, when are you done? Are you going to be done soon?"
You know what? I think we should probably wrap it up anyway. I'm sort of out there. Do you have a prediction that you want to go before? I'm
going to go with 2-0. I fancy it. I think Greg's going to have the team ready. I think that he's going to be smart and rotate. And there's chances for players to prove themselves. And I think with Greg Vanner, you're going to have to really make sure that you do that. He doesn't suffer, falls, and he's not afraid to make changes and chop and change and stuff. So I think they'll keep the momentum going. It's the Sporting Kansas City game on July 4 that I think is more the banana skin game. And now's the time to take advantage of San Jose. I know that we just barely beat them when we play previously.
Right.
But there's something in my gut that tells me I fancy it, so I'm going to go 2-0.
All right, I'll stick with you there. I'm going to say 1-1 and be happy with the 4 points.
Okay.
I just neither of these teams' offenses are firing on all cylinders right now, and so I refuse to get hyped up about the LA Galaxy. I've read the stats. I've seen where they are in the Western Conference. I think they've outperformed some of these games, and that's fine. It's still an improvement over last year, huge improvement. So I'm still on this track. I'm waiting for the one really bad game they've had, because they've had bad games, but they've survived some of those.
Yeah.
Seattle's a different monster. I think they actually played okay in that game, but Seattle's so clinical and so good, you're going to get punished when you make little mistakes. Vancouver was making a bunch of mistakes, and they survived it, and they got 3 points. And so,
I dig your measured approach. I like it.
So I'm gonna say 1-1. So I'm going with a draw, 1-1 at San Jose PayPal Park. This game again, a 7 p.m. kickoff. The game is on Unamas. So Unamas is where you can find the game. So make sure you check it out, and it'll be available on Twitter. I think it's on TUDN as well. So check it out. Find that game if you're not headed up. I think there's some watch parties as well that you can find and go there as well. So that's where we're at. LA Galaxy versus the San Jose Earthquakes coming up. Cali Clasico to sort of close out this busy 3-game week. All right, so anything else you want to talk about? Or are we good?
We're good.
Okay.
Vespa's just crying at the door. I was going to show her to everyone. Maybe that would, make her feel better. But
that's good.
Yeah.
Tell people where they can find you, and then you can go grab Vespa. So
at Soccer Diva on Twitter, at Highbury Squad as well, if you like a bit of Arsenal Premier League and Euro stuff. Same on YouTube as well. As always, it's been an absolute pleasure to be on the COG with Mr. Guesman. He works hard for you. Appreciate those graphs, because there's just nothing like it. Thank you, Josh.
Thanks, Sophie. We appreciate it. All right, if you're looking for me on Twitter, it's at JGuesman, JGUESMAN, and of course, at Galaxy Podcast. Head on over to cornerofthegalaxy.com, podcast videos, articles, all that stuff. You can find it. Rate, like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Please do it. And hopefully we'll see you next time. LA Galaxy versus the San Jose Earthquakes coming up this weekend, 7 p.m. kickoff time. Unamas is where you can find that. All right. For Miss Sophie, the Cannon, Nicolaou, I'm Josh Pato Guesman. You've been listening. You've been watching to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Have a great one, everybody.
You've been listening to the Corner of the Galaxy podcast on cornerofthegalaxy.com. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Galaxy Podcast, and be sure to check out and subscribe to iTunes, Stitcher, and Facebook by searching for Corner of the Galaxy. Fans, we thank you for listening, and we ask that you be kind and courteous to your neighbors as you leave the podcast. We thank you for joining us and look forward to seeing you again. Until then, I'm Michael Araujo, and on behalf of the entire Corner of the Galaxy crew, goodbye, everybody.